Welcome to the playoff edition of your favorite Sip and Swish podcast. We've got Nick Reid, your boy Lucas McLean. I'm Jason Stoltz. We've been waiting seemingly 16 weeks for this because I think we've done the podcast. This will be our 17th podcast.
Yeah, it will be.
And it's here, guys. It's really exciting. We're going to break it into, the East series and the West. We're going to start out by looking at the Eastern Conference. And I'm going to start out with a classic bamboozle.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right off the top. I would like to rank these series in order of confidence in the lower seed winning. Oh. So we're going to break it down series by series. You're going to get all the expert insight. But let's start off kind of like with this macro perspective. Since this is a surprise, a bamboozle, if you will, I'll go ahead and toss mine out just to give you guys a second to process. Yeah, I like how you used a Philly term.
I trust it.
Do you?
So, macro perspective, I think the higher seed could upset the lower in every series. I don't think... They're like none of these are going to be sweeps. None of these are going to be, I don't even think any of them are going to be a five game series. So I am most confident in Boston beating the Bucks. I am second most confident in Toronto beating the Wizards, and then I'm equally confident that Philly will defeat the Heat and that Cleveland will beat the Pacers. Who wants to jump in here?
So we're picking the most likely underdogs? Like, who's likely to...
No. So, which favorite you believe in the most? So I believe that Boston is definitely going to beat the Bucks, and I believe that more than any of the other, top seeds beating the lower seeds. So that's what I'm getting at here.
I get where I got my list already.
All right, you can go. I'm still debating.
The Cavs are going to beat the Pacers. That's just
number one, most confident.
That might be the only sweep. And then I probably have Sixers versus Heat, and then Raptors, Wizards, Celtics, Bucks.
You literally went in inverse order.
Yeah. The bamboozle. I think Giannis and the Bucks are fully healthy now, and the Celtics are the complete opposite. I think they could pull it out.
All right.
I think I said a while ago, I thought the Bucks healthy, but then you shorten their lineup. They would be a terrible matchup for Boston because I would hate to play Antetokounmpo 48 minutes a night. But I kind of think the Celtics might be the most confident to win their series quite easily. I bet they could win 4-1. So it'll be a 5-game series. But so I'd go with the Celtics and then Sixers.
Oh, wow, okay.
Raptors, then Cavs. I just feel I think the Cavs-Pacers is the most equal matchup. And then it jumps to Raptors-Wizards being completely underrated. Who knows what's going to happen situation. Sure. So I don't have that much confidence in the Raptors playing the Wizards. So last night when we were debating those standing places, I was I don't think the Wizards really want this matchup because this is actually, I feel an incredibly hard matchup, and it's 1-8, taking a step back. But realistically, this matchup's really even.
Yeah,
so I don't have
gets
much confidence.
My original point where I feel none of these are. I hate when I use slam dunk on this podcast as a term. None of these are a swish. Sure, yes. Last macro thing, then we'll jump into every Eastern Conference series. Which one are you guys most excited for?
Oh, that's a hard one too.
And just however you interpret that. Excitement, which is going to be the closest, which you just personally care about the most. Just
Raptors, Wizards.
Yeah.
Raptors, Wizards for sure.
Especially if Raptors lose game 1.
Right? We're going to dive into this, but they are the most even, like I just said before. And the season series between them has been even. And now there's a lot more circumstances coming up. But that has the best one. It's 2 all-star backcourts versus 2 all-star backcourts. I think it's the best narrative, too, out of the whole playoff series in the East.
I see we shared that battle of the backcourt note as well. Right before the podcast, Lucas breaks out his notes, and everything from the formatting to like even entire sentences was completely duplicated in my notes.
That's why I'm here to mix it up a little bit with all my notes. I'm just going to lock my screen so you guys can't see them,
They're word by word.
So you guys are taking that. Obviously, I'm a Philly fan, but I really think Philly versus Heat is... I think that's the best first-round matchup.
It's going to be good.
Let's do it. We've waited long enough. Toronto versus Washington. Number 1 versus number 8 seed. First game tips 5:30 on Saturday on ESPN. Season series tied at 2-2. Nick, I'll kick it over to you. Why don't you give us some of your impressions on this series?
I won't be surprised if Toronto actually just loses this game since they've never won a game 1. They're 0-9 in the playoffs. Like, come on, Toronto.
All time? I knew that I guess I thought it was a recent phenomenon.
All time. They've never won a first round game 1.
I guess the recency though, like I don't know what they are recent. I bet it's like 0-4 or something like that. But that's way more important to me than like 0-9. But I feel like they're destined to maybe fall apart, but I don't want to say that. But to have like a really fun playoff series, they have to fall apart for this to go like 7 games. There has to be some Kyle Lowry malfunctions somewhere along the lines. He's got to be, I don't know, the most important player on Toronto. He's averaging 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and he's only shooting 25% from 3. So he's really struggled against this team, which worries me how much John Wall is just going to kill him. Like, he's going to be on Lowry all game. So, like, I want to see how elite John Wall can be defensively.
Have the Wizards won since John Wall came back? Have they won a single game?
They were like 3
They won last night, right? Or they lost last night?
No, they beat Boston.
They did beat Boston.
With Wall?
Wall wasn't playing, was it?
Dude, they were 0-3, 0-4 at one point since Wall returned.
The drama came back with Gortat.
Continues, yeah.
Yeah, and Gortat and some other foreign role player, I can't remember. I think it's I don't remember his name. Sachatori or whatever his name is.
Satorsky?
Yeah, that guy.
Sadorinsky.
Yeah, so they both went on Twitter and they were both on the post-game interviews saying like, we don't pass the ball enough. We're holding the ball too long. But they say we. But
everyone knows what that means.
Everyone knows that John Wall is holding the ball too much. So this offense does not work well when John Wall has the ball like 60% of every possession. Like, the ball needs to move. I don't know if John Wall's the type of player that you can go deep in the playoffs if he's your number 1 option playing the way John Wall wants to play.
Sure. I don't disagree with that. Washington is brutally mediocre. So they're between 13th and 15th in the entire NBA in points per game, opponents' points per game, offensive and defensive efficiency. That is just like the definition of mediocrity. So I don't see them as a challenge in this series at all, unless Toronto just becomes like playoff Toronto and they really choke, which is why I think the key player in the series, and I know you agree, Lucas, is Kyle Lowry. Because if Kyle Lowry can play like an all-star, which he has been in the past, I believe. I know he wasn't this year. If he can play like an all-star, then I think Toronto will definitely win.
What if Lowry just played normal? Just average Kyle Lowry. He doesn't have to play out of his mind. He just can't play this subpar point guard.
Oh, I agree. Basically, if Lowry doesn't falter.
Right.
This is why I went in a different direction than the guards and the forwards. I went towards the big men because you have Valanciunas and you have Podol going against Gortat and Ian Mahaney.
Right.
That's their bigs. If Valanciunas and Podol can just destroy them on the inside, and both these teams are top 10 in rebounding, like or 12th, I believe it was. They're good rebounding teams. They're not bad, but the Raptors have a little bit of an edge in their big men. They need to use that. They need to go inside on that.
So that's kind of the key to you in the series.
Yeah, I think the big men are going to be the key.
Valanciunas definitely has the ability to be an offensive threat. But it's like all season Raptors fans are just not on board with Valanciunas. You know, it was even before the season they were joking around that you'd trade Alex Len for Valanciunas.
Just dumb.
But you know, their big man rotation, I think, has the big edge because they don't even play Mahinmi that much.
Yeah.
And so, but on the Raptors side, Pascal Siakam is now injured with the right shoulder, and so he's questionable for the first 3 games. But if he was there, I don't think that big man rotation would even be in question, like favored for the Raptors. I want to see like how Gortat can be in the playoffs with his experience in the playoffs versus like Valanciunas. He's only 24.
Right.
And Mahinmi has just always been a deep bench role player. So maybe Gortat can take advantage of that matchup. But
Who was the best player in this series?
I think this is a good question. I think it's pretty good. I have Beal. I think Beal because I thought I tried to just look at it back like who's the best player. Instantly I thought John Wall, but then I was like, I don't think John Wall is the best player on the Wizards right now or the most productive
Right now. And
Right
I
now.
totally agree with that.
So then I looked at the season series, and Beal's averaging 29 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. It's insane. Like,
Well,
that's a
Wall
crazy
hasn't played
stat.
in any games in this
No,
series. So.
yeah, but he's also shooting 50% from the field, 50% from 3. And he's just killing it, and that's 4-game series. I think he's the best player. I mean, DeMar has been shooting poorly in the series. Lowry's been non-existent. John Wall,
I had a tie, to be honest, between Beal and DeRozan, and I will not continue to do that through every series. I promise. I won't just be like the tie guy, but to me, I really do feel like they're pretty comparable players. Like if I was going to start a team right now and I wanted like win now mode, and do I take Beal or DeRozan?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty 50-50. I don't think there's a wrong answer.
right?
But yeah, I mean, at this very moment, it's not John Wall.
No.
Nick, who did you think on that?
You know, I like looking at the stats. John Wall hasn't been back enough games. Like he had a good game against the Celtics, but the Celtics are just bare bones. It has to be. I think it has to be DeMar. Like DeMar is the difference in the Raptors going out of the first round and not going out of the first round, because he has to do better than Beal. Beal's going to put up the most points on the Wizards. It's not going to be John Wall because John Wall doesn't have a consistent jumper.
Right.
But yeah, you guys are right. It's a toss up between them, but I'd give the edge to DeMar. DeMar needs to be the better player.
So much agreement.
I
Too
know.
early on.
I know. We're going to have to get way feistier.
The next couple series, we're going to get a little feistier. I feel it.
Anything you guys would like to add? What about styles of play? Like, how do you think that the two styles of play really come into the mix?
I don't really know except for how much the Raptors rely on the deep bench and how much they use Van Fleet and Norman Powell. But then I thought, after thinking about like the Raptors bench, the most underrated player on the Wizards, Otto Porter, might be like the actual key player. Because then I was like, okay, Lowry, if he does well, if he does bad, that's like huge on the series. But what if Otto Porter like actually kills it like he can? He just plays elite defense on DeMar DeRozan, and he does like 25 and 5, or like the last game they played, Otto Porter dropped 28. It's like this guy has the ability to shut down people and play great offense. I think he might be like this. If we had to do like a top 3 key players,
Okay.
Otto Porter's my.
We just keep adding more and
We're
more
doing-
key players. Like, actually, no, it's this guy.
We're doing this whole it's not all NBA, it's all key players. That's all
The
we're
sleeper key player, Otto Porter. I've got Toronto in 6. Anyone else want to toss a guess out?
Ooh.
I think.
Well, Toronto's going to lose game 1.
Aw.
So I'm going to throw Toronto in 7.
Toronto in 7.
All right.
Toronto in 7.
God, they just need
Next
to win a
series,
game.
hopefully there's a little more disagreement.
Oh,
The
there
2
will be.
seed, Boston Celtics versus Milwaukee. Fear the Deer.
Milwaukee.
1 o'clock, Sunday afternoon, TNT, Game 1 tips. Another season series tied at 2-2. Lucas, what's up with this one?
Well, you're about to see how Al Horford is the best player on the Celtics. I just think, looking at this roster, how it's constructed, I don't think the Bucks have an answer for Al Horford. there's no way anybody's going to be able to guard him down low. He's averaging 19, 7, and 5, but he's shooting 71% from the field.
That's ridiculous.
60% from 3 on 4 attempts a game. This is absurd. He can do anything. And you know who's guarding Al Horford? John Henson. Thon Maker, who's like 200 pounds and he's 7'2". No, like he can't guard Al Horford. Al Horford's 260 or 250. Like he's huge. He's a huge man.
You know who else is talking about Al Horford right now?
Who?
No one. Crickets. I wish I had sound effects. That's why the smart people listen to Sip and Switch podcast. Lucas, that was excellent. I'm proud of you.
I just think Al Horford is going to absolutely dominate the series. He might not drop like 25 a night.
It's not his game.
He doesn't have to. He gets 20. He shoots absurdly efficient because nobody's guarding him. So he's just playing by himself, basically, or he's playing against a high schooler, Thon Maker.
Thon Maker's like 32. What are you talking
about? All right, he might be a grandfather.
His schooler and or grandfather.
No in between.
Nobody knows. But then if you look at the rest of the series, you have Jaylen Brown and Tatum who are averaging the same stat line. Like they're both dropping 15 and 6, which is great, but it's also role players. And now they don't have Kyrie, and there's no like killer scorer. Scary Terry's
the offense.
He's been playing poorly in this series. I think he's only averaging 8, but I don't know how many of those games have been with Kyrie out. I think most of the time Scary Terry has played is when he's been back up. But I think the Celtics should be heavily favored in this matchup.
Agreed. I mean, I also think that one of the interesting storylines in this is best coached versus worst coached. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm saying necessarily it's the absolute best and absolute worst, even though Stevens is my coach of the year. But if coaching makes the difference, you'll see it in this series more than any other series. Nick, what are some of your thoughts?
I just don't see Boston slowing Antetokounmpo. I don't know how he's going to be stopped.
I don't think he's going to be stopped. But there's no way he's going to drop 50 a game. And then nobody else around him can produce. Like Jabari is struggling.
Jabari
Middleton is streaky right now for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I love the man. But I don't know why.
But even then, so who's stopping Middleton? Like, who is guarding all these people in the Celtics? Because they're out Smart, they're out Kyrie. Like, they have Jaylen Brown, they have Tatum. I just don't see this lineup being strong enough in the playoffs for the Celtics to.
Celtics starting 5 is what? Scary Terry, Tatum, Brown, Horford. Marcus Morris, and Horford.
Yeah. Against the starting 5 of Bledsoe, Middleton, Giannis, Jabari, Henson. I'm not entirely sure that's their starting 5, but I feel looking at the starting 5, I like the Bucks better.
I like the Bucks, but they also underperform.
They do.
Bledsoe underperforms. Middleton, for whatever reason, underperforms. Giannis will not underperform, but
Giannis will just be it.
But then their big man rotation is awful, which gives Marcus Morris, and even when they play small ball Jaylen Brown, he's going to take advantage of the weak big men. I think, but I do think that if the Bucks play super small, I think it's a huge threat.
If Giannis is playing at center,
Giannis at center, Jabari at 4,
that would be phenomenal.
Middleton at 3, Brogdon at 2 because Brogdon is back. And then you have Bledsoe.
Yeah, they have everybody back.
Everybody's
now.
Playing defense except
for literally
Jabari.
the first time this entire season.
Yeah, it was yesterday was the first time they've had every player back. They even got Delly back,
and they lost by 40.
Well, they intentionally tanked.
Dude, it's because everyone was ducking the Sixers yesterday.
They were, because I looked at the box scores of so many games. I'm like, wait a second, how many players played today? It was 12. Every single player that could play was playing because no one really wanted to win their games. Boston or the Bucks versus Sixers should have been a good matchup.
It should have been better than a 40-point game.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a good game since I picked it in our fourth quarter. Yeah, and it did not turn out well.
They just tanked it.
They just tanked it, which happens in the last day of the season.
Let's do best player, key player. Best player in this series, Giannis.
Yeah.
We all concur. Key player in this series.
You already know my key player. I had Al Horford.
Yeah.
Love it. I took the Boston youth duo of Brown and Tatum.
Brown and Tatum as your key player.
All right.
The entire roster.
I hedged. Deal with it.
I will not pick the best player. Best player, did you not have Beal and DeMar, and then promise us you weren't going to do it again?
No. I said not every time.
Not every
time. Okay, all right.
That might be the last time.
I had
We're all
probably
good.
not.
Probably.
Don't worry, Sip and Swish listeners. I switched it up. I had Jabari Parker because I think the number 2 overall pick wants to show he's actually worth some money in this offseason, and he's going to perform.
This would be the time.
This is the time. Playoffs, knock out the number 2 seed.
He'd have to play actual defense.
So, in my notes, because I have lots of notes, don't worry.
I'm glad.
The Bucks, when it started the season really hot, and everyone's like, this could be the Giannis's MVP season. They're like, could be a top 5 team, which we know they slid to 7, but everyone was close from 6 to 8. If they lose this series, because I think they're going to win this series, I know you guys don't, but this is not good for the Bucks year. Especially against, if Celtics had like Kyrie and they had their full roster, it'd be like, whatever.
Right, kind of no shame in losing.
Yeah, no shame in losing. But this is a depleted Boston Celtics team. Like, what are the Bucks going to have to do a full roster revamp almost? Because Jabari's going to be up. This is kind of make it or break it for, not make it or break it, but this needs to be a confidence boost for the Bucks. We need Giannis.
The players that would have to step up are like Tony Snell, John Henson, Deladova, and those guys might not even see playing time in this series. Jabari is going to have to step up.
Deladova missed a 3-point attempt last night so badly that I'm not exaggerating when I say I was laughing out loud. Like the ball, I'm pretty sure went over the rim, hit the far side of the backboard. It was truly disgusting. So
talk about your duo. I want to hear the reasoning behind the duo.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I think the only way that Milwaukee can pull this out is if Brown and Tatum show their youth.
Yeah.
Wow. Lucas just popped off a sweatshirt, and underneath there lies Devin,
the former
Booker.
Phoenix Suns player.
That's funny. Don't ever say that again. Blasphemous.
Yeah, really sweet shirt, though.
I love it.
But yeah, so I mean, that's it for me. That's the only way Milwaukee wins. There's nothing the Bucks, they themselves, can do that'll win this series, in my opinion. The only way they win this series is if Boston loses it. And to me, the only way that happens is if Brown and Tatum, just underperform for what they've done all season.
It's similar to looking at the Jazz and having a rookie lead you in scoring in the playoffs.
Sure.
Every, former player, every, NBA analyst is like, that's just not a good fit.
It's scary, yeah.
It's not a good fit. He struggles in the fourth quarter. He's not feeling confident. He's never done this before. And that's where I think that the Celtics and they don't score well anyways. They haven't scored well all season, even when they had Kyrie. It's all going to come down to their defense, and Tatum and Brown just have to kind of pull out a miracle, I think.
It makes me really sad because we watched the Boston game the other night. They got killed. But watching Tatum play makes me wish it wasn't 19 right now. Like, if this was the Boston situation, but if he was 25 right now, the moves that Tatum can do, he's not landing these shots, but he has the moves and he has the footwork and the fundamentals to get all these shots off. He can create separation. He can do everything
so good
that Paul Pierce could do. He could do all these things offensively.
The Godfather, Paul Pierce.
Right? It almost might be like blasphemous, but I think every Boston fan would love that comparison of Tatum and Pierce. But that's why I wish, if this situation happened and Tatum was 4 years older, I wouldn't be worried. But he is young. He's really young, and he might crumble. He'll probably crumble. It might be sad.
And when the Bucks win, I'll just be happy over here, just laughing at you guys.
Bucks in how many?
6.
Wow.
I think Celtics in 5. Yeah, it would be 4-1. Celtics win. Yeah.
I had to do that quick
I took
math.
Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 6.
Next up, near and so dear to my heart, Philadelphia 76ers versus the Miami Heat. Game 1 tips, 8 o'clock Saturday night, ESPN. Another season series tied at 2-2.
This is going to be an interesting one for me.
I'm so excited. There's so much more drama because of Embiid and Whiteside just hating each other completely is going to be the tipping point. Who's going to foul who out harder? And since it's playoff basketball, they're not going to call all these tic-tacky things. So, like, a foul that Whiteside is going to commit on Embiid is going to be hard to the point where it's like, it would have been a flagrant in the regular season to get a call.
Yeah, but now they're just going to be like, we're not calling that flagrant. They don't want to kick him out. When will Embiid be back?
So Brett Brown came out and said it is doubtful for game 1.
Right.
My gut is game 2. I don't think
like if they don't get him back till game 3, like this Miami squad with Eric Spoelstra, who is my key player, just so you guys know.
Wow.
Skipping ahead. Yeah. Key player. The coach.
You're all cheating. Picking 2 people, picking a coach.
That's not cheating though, because
someone's going to pick the fans soon.
But
that would have been good.
That would have been great, actually.
Total surprise pick.
That one, what was that? It was in the Miami Spurs finals when some guy was wearing a Golden State Warriors jersey in the background. He's the only guy in the entire crowd in like a blue and yellow, and it's like, wait, what? Why is this happening? But yeah, no, I mean, this will really show if the 76ers are real, because the Heat have a championship coach, arguably top 5 coach in the league.
Yes. And
this will be Brett Brown's first season coaching in the playoffs. I mean, he was a part of the Sixers.
He was an assistant coach for the Spurs.
Yeah, he was. That's what I mean. Yeah,
a really long time.
But like his first like head coaching, he's in charge of it.
When I saw the chips fall this way, I'm not gonna lie. This was my worst possible scenario for the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. I was most hoping for the Bucks because we would destroy the Bucks, no problem.
I think you guys would, do really well.
With DC playing as poorly as they have, I have zero fear. Miami's a little funky. They're just that weird team.
They can do a lot.
Everyone talks about it, so I don't want to be overly redundant, but they can play in different styles. They can put out these bizarre lineups. Even their individual players have kind of these slightly odd, slightly off skill sets. And Philly's going to win this, in my opinion. But it's going to be – I think this is going to be a harder test than when we win this series and whoever we play next round. I think this is a harder test.
This is going to be way harder. I think the thing about Embiid is I would question that health report because I just think you got to wait till like 20 minutes before tip-off. Because they could switch it at any moment. I feel like Embiid could just say, like, no, like, I'm playing. I'm doing it. Like, I'll play with a broken face. I don't care tonight.
Throw on the mask.
And it's not something where the organization's like a knee or something like that where they're going to say, hey, we have money invested. No, you are not playing. It's just pain, basically. It's just his face. It's going to be fine for next season.
Yeah. But Dwayne Wade is a terrifying threat.
You ever seen Dwayne Wade play the 76ers?
Recently? I mean, he dropped 27 in 25 minutes.
I remember.
That was a terrifying game when you're like, wait a second, Dwayne Wade's back, but like he barely played and he just murdered everybody.
Did we watch that game together?
We were watching another game. You were watching it on your phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
sounds about right.
But then there's also the whole story about Dragic might not play game 1. He has knee soreness.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, so if he's out, I wouldn't.
I see the knee soreness thing, but I think that's just like, hey, we don't want you playing the last game of the year.
Regardless, he has knee soreness, and they said his status for game 1 was questionable. But if he's out, I think it's a different story. He'll most likely play. But if Embiid doesn't play game 1, and D-Wade has a good game, not like an old D-Wade game, and Hassan can just, I don't know, who's the backup center for Philly?
Amir Johnson, I believe.
I think Hassan Whiteside can take advantage of Amir. I really think that's a problem then. Because, like, Embiid and Whiteside aren't equals. Like, Embiid is significantly better. But the drop-off from Embiid to Amir Johnson compared in that matchup. So, like, Whiteside, if they're just passing Whiteside the ball, like, 3 feet from the rim, I feel like that's a destined 26 points he's going to drop.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Bellinelli's a big dude. Ilyasova's a big dude. Like, we have people that we can kind of throw at Whiteside. And I'm not diminishing his potential impact at all. he is my key player in this entire series. Hassan Whiteside is.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone 26-8, 15-11, 16-10 over the last 3 games against the Sixers, 2 of which were wins. 1 was only a 2-point loss. He's wreaked havoc even with Embiid there. I'm actually a little nervous about the reintegration of Joel Embiid. The ball has moved infinitely better without him, to be honest.
Trade him.
No. We are not a better team without him, but we're playing a better team brand of basketball without him.
I think it will be interesting with Whiteside, and the fact is Spoelstra's not scared to sit him in the fourth quarter and go just straight small ball and get the floor spread. I just think that because if you don't have Embiid and you guys are going smaller, then Spoelstra's going to have to go smaller. They might not be able to play Whiteside as much in the fourth quarter because of the fact that you guys don't have Embiid and you'll be running a smaller offense.
I guess that would just end up like who's taking advantage of what in what instance, because like if Spoelstra instantly goes small, I mean if Philly instantly goes small, I don't think Spoelstra's first instinct is to match that. I think that he would instantly say like, okay, instantly feed Whiteside the ball, take advantage of the matchup, and then like the moment you see the momentum flip, like okay, you take advantage of the situation. If the first second it doesn't work and it clearly doesn't work, they'd go small ball, right? But say if Whiteside gets a bucket, then draws a foul, or it just looks like a nice play, they're going to keep going big against Philly small ball.
Right.
I bet you see a situation in which Simmons is guarding Whiteside.
I was literally just about to say that. Like they're just going to play Simmons at the center.
I feel like they're going to go Magic Johnson.
Good.
Rookie Magic.
Have him play Whiteside.
Giannis and Simmons playing center all playoffs.
Perfect.
I believe in Simmons so much after the last month of the season. What he's played phenomenally all year, but what he has turned into over the last month is scary. He turned into a top 15 player in the NBA easily.
Yeah, I think he did.
And I don't think youth is going to affect him, and maybe his questionable rookie status and him having been around the team last year, is going to help that fact. But I don't see youth affecting him. Yes, experience is on the side of Miami and on their coaching staff as well. It's not just the players. But I've watched tons of Sixers basketball lately, especially. They're the better team, man. I'm sorry, but they just are.
Are you at all worried, though, how Simmons has played against the Heat this year? Because he's averaging 15 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and he's not shooting well. Like, he's like a super high efficient shooter, basically because everything's at the rim.
Right.
Yeah.
But with, like, James Johnson there, you got Whiteside, you have Olynyk. Okay, I'm not saying Olynyk is a defensive stopper, but he is a body that's played on Boston. He's competent. So if you throw all these rotational big men at Simmons to get in the paint, are you worried as a Philly fan?
With Spo's coaching, no less.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, of course. I definitely am. But that being said, I've seen plenty of teams, play 6 feet off of him, dare him to take the shot. You know what? He's still not going to take the shot. He's going to drive, and that part of his game has even just gotten better. So, yeah, I mean, is he going to be like the Simmons we've seen over the last month? Maybe not in terms of like box score, but I don't think they're going to stifle him to a point where he's ineffective by any stretch of the imagination.
And Philly's got so many shooters right now that it's going – like you throw Covington, you throw J.J. Redick, you have Ilyasova out there, and you just have
Bellinelli.
Simmons and – yeah.
So what's the death lineup for Philly without Embiid?
Without Embiid.
Simmons, Bellinelli, Redick,
Sarge.
Covington. Oh, Sarge. I always forget about Sarge. Let's drop J.J., Covington, Sarge, Ilyasova with Simmons out there.
I feel like that's too big. Like if you have Simmons playing,
but they're all
center,
spacing the wings. Like they're all just taking shots.
Okay, so you said Sark, Ilyasova,
J.J. Redick, Covington.
So no Bellinelli.
No Bellinelli.
Okay. See, I think I would have taken out Ilyasova
I like Bellinelli's game with us more than Ilyasova's, which isn't a knock on Ilyasova.
Yeah. I would have had Bellinelli, Redick, Simmons, Saric, Covington. I think that's a pretty perfect. I think that's the death lineup that I think they're going to play game one. I bet they could even start with their death lineup against the Heat with that, without Embiid.
You know what might be interesting? If Fultz keeps growing. So, all right, he's a huge wild card in the series. He was not playing during any regular season games versus Miami. He has looked pretty darn good, especially lately. Yeah, triple-double last night, 16-game win streak for Philly. What if Fultz continues to develop throughout this series and he just becomes a real force to be reckoned with, where he's that dude off the bench that there's no drop off, oh man, this starting lineup's not working. Great, cool. Let's flip it real quick. Let's get Fultz in there, that change of pace.
What is the stats though? I forget looking at it, but I just remember some talking heads talking about it. It was it was Simmons and Fultz playing together. It
hasn't happened much.
Yeah, it doesn't happen much, and Fultz needs to have the ball. So
I think Fultz is going to be the bench unit for that little time in the game that Simmons is out.
I just wonder what Brett Brown's mindset is going into this game with Fultz. It's got to be in the back of his mind. Okay, he was the number one pick. He is progressing, but at the same time, we're totally fine without him playing. So is he the minutes I see him getting are the beginning of the second. And if he does well continually in those first 4 minutes, he plays 2 more minutes and then he gets benched, whatever. And then maybe the end of the third, deep end of the third. But then I could see those are the only minutes he gets throughout the whole series until he does poorly and then he gets pulled.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Jason's saying where if it's just not working, the Sixers need some sort of change. They're just going to they'll put Simmons on the bench and they'll just be Fultz, just try to get 6 points.
I just feel that's so hard since he's played so many so less minutes than the rest of the team, and just to say okay, Simmons isn't doing well, you're our next best option for a facilitator is such a big weight to put on his shoulder from a guy that basically sat the entire season with basically just a mental problem, a mental block. And
that would be almost like a confidence. I have faith. I have faith in you.
It would be I have a faith in you to do this, or it could be oh my God, he has so much faith in me, I might fold, sort of thing.
And it doesn't need to be that Simmons is playing poorly.
Yeah, it could just be
you know what, this starting lineup came out flat game 2 for whatever reason. Cool, change of pace, Markelle Fultz, 6 minutes, whatever. We've been talking about the series for a little bit. Let's hit best player, key player.
Sure.
I think you already said your key player.
Eric Spoelstra.
My key player was Whiteside. I gave you the stats to back up my excellent choice.
I have Whiteside.
Really?
Yeah, I just think it's the foul trouble. It's if Whiteside can get Embiid in foul trouble or vice versa, it completely changes the whole series. Without having an elite big man, dangerous.
Best player?
Embiid.
Yeah, Embiid.
I went Simmons only because of the Embiid injury. Mm-hmm. Just, any ambiguity, any rust, kind of, it just feels a little up in the air, and Simmons is really good. I've got Philly in 6.
I have Philly in 6.
Philly 6.
Wow, nice. Makes me feel good as a Philly fan. Proud. Real proud. Next series. Number 4 seed, Cleveland LeBron James Cavaliers versus Indianapolis.
Indianapolis!
I was getting too cute. I wanted to say the Indiana Oladipo Pacers.
Oladipo.
Game 1. Tips, Sunday, 3:30, ABC. Pacers lead the season series 3-1.
To watch that game.
Nick, I think you're up in terms of our natural progression of who gets to tackle these first.
I guess so. Pacers play you get the ball, you shoot it kind of offense, mid-range, just
if you're open.
If you're open, there was the Al Jefferson would get the ball from kind of mid-range and he'd try to go to the post or something. And they're no, you need to shoot that basketball. Is this kind of offense going to work in the playoffs? Will it say that one game the Cavs aren't hitting their threes, but the Pacers are just murdering it from mid-range because they are efficient?
Yeah.
I really like this Pacers team.
I like them too, and they're going to take advantage of the 29th worst defense in the league. Like, that's where they're ranked 29th. That's so terrible.
Yeah, but
That's fool's gold, though, buddy. That is fool's gold.
That's the worst defense in the league.
It's because LeBron
Second
doesn't
worst.
try.
Yeah, but you're comparing it to other teams that would be of equal caliber. So it's
If LeBron tried during this regular season, like he's going to, in
but then
this
you only have
playoffs,
one defensive player. You only have LeBron playing defense. Nobody else can play.
And
nobody
also-
else is known for even trying. Like,
I'm just saying they would jump to middle of the pack if LeBron was playing regular season games like playoff LeBron, in my opinion.
okay, so LeBron will be guarding Oladipo all series, right? My assumption he's not going to guard.
I don't know, to be
Bogdanovich.
honest. Is that your take?
I don't think LeBron's going to guard Depot.
That's going to wear him out.
So yeah, because he's the two guard, so he's going to be facilitating a majority of the time. That'd be hard. That means, but then who is LeBron playing elite defense on? Like specifically,
Thad Young.
you'd be match. That's like it's like then you're just
But-
playing 4-on-4, and the Pacers have an advantage, right? So if you take LeBron out of the equation just
So you're
by
not-
pushing Thad Young to the corner, and LeBron is guarding Thad Young in the corner, that means the rest of the court's just overload, and Oladipo is matched up against who? Like J.R. Smith, and then you have Bogdanovich, who apparently is killing it, and he's getting guarded by Jeff Green, and then their center, then Miles Turner is being guarded by Kevin Love. Like it's just
Kevin Love or Larry.
yeah, that's mismatches all over the place. Like I feel like LeBron has to do the same thing that he did in the Bulls series a long time ago. He has to match up against D-Rose. He has to match up against Oladipo. You have to match up your best defensive player against the best offensive player. Or else
I'd love
they have
to
no
see
chance,
it. I mean, that would be
right?
best for viewership.
It's going to be the best because you're going to see LeBron running everywhere, and he's not used to that this year. He's going to be freaking sprinting to follow Oladipo all over the court.
The other thing is, so who's guarding LeBron for the Pacers?
That's another. It's got to be.
I mean, no one ever can guard LeBron.
Right.
It's not really like a real
that
thing, but like,
question in any series.
whose body is just going to like
But
try
think
to
about
lay
the-
on top of him? Every
Think
time
about
he
the
shoots?
switches. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think a single player can match up. But since the entire league revolves around switching on pick and rolls, it's LeBron initiates a pick and roll. The next player guarding him will be the bigger man. So it's either Thad Young or Miles Turner. Miles Turner is an elite defensive player. So you have Miles Turner. Thad Young has been a stretch four.
Is he an
his
elite
whole career.
defensive player yet, or
Absolutely.
is he?
Yeah, he was leading the league in blocks until I think like a month ago. Which Miles Turner I think is a super sleeper in the series because he's only played one game in this series, which is insane. And he dropped 15 points, 7 boards, but he had 3 blocks in that game. Like he's going to come to the series again having an insane amount of blocks. He's coming in averaging like over 2. I think it's 2.1. And that's what he was known for in the draft. That's what he's been known for throughout his short career so far. But I think Pacers have an advantage in like little technical situations throughout the course of a series or a game where they can take advantage of a lot of the things the Cavs do.
They play as more of a team. They've been together the whole season. They're not kind of a hodgepodge of, a few players from last year and 6 new players and whatever the Cavs are. So I see that as a bit of an advantage. What do you guys think about Pacers being up 3-1 in the season series? Do you really give that any stock, or is it kind of just like playoffs are playoffs?
I think so.
You think it matters?
I think it's exactly what Nate McMillan wants to happen. I think it's what you were saying too. They don't care who has the ball. They're not looking for those prime perfect matchups because LeBron is off on somebody else. And once they get slightly open in the mid-range, someone's going to pull up. And they're all really good in mid-range, which is really strange because it's not the way the rest of the league is going.
They're the only team playing with that style. They haven't played each other, Cleveland and Indiana, since January 26th. So
That's been a while.
Yeah, unlike a lot of, looking back
So
at
they
season series
Yeah.
in other series, other playoff series, this one's almost antiquated. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
January 26th was the most recent one. How much stock can we really put in any of those results?
The only stock I'm putting into it is my super sleeper. I'll go back to Miles Turner. They haven't seen Miles Turner in like 2.5 months. They don't even know the man, but he's going to be the complete
I
stopper.
barely know the dude.
Well, Indiana doesn't know this team since they haven't played this Cavs team since January, was it 23rd?
But I feel like enough people have tape on LeBron in the
Well,
Cavs.
yeah,
Is the
I mean,
difference is I don't think people are studying the Pacers. I think people are studying
LeBron is. LeBron knows everything these guys are going to do.
I would have to imagine the entire Cleveland Cavaliers team will know.
LeBron James is going to decimate these guys.
I don't know if decimate is the. I don't think.
Yeah, no,
think this
I
is gonna
disagree
be a
there. I
swift punch.
think this is the hardest series to predict in all of the Eastern Conference matchups. I think this is going to be a really tough one, and if anyone kind of takes an early loss at home in this series, it could get out of hand.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's a tough one to predict. Like, for instance, if Indiana steals game one, I don't know. Or if Cleveland is up, even if it's 1-1 going into Indiana and Cleveland wins game three, I could see the Pacers folding. I don't know. It's just I have no idea what's going to happen in this series. I think it's going to be a really hard-fought one. So let's do best player, key player. Best player, I mean, let's just all say it at the same time. LeBron James.
LeBron.
Tristan Thompson.
I didn't even talk about the Tristan Thompson drama.
Yeah, but I feel like.
Well, but okay, I guess a quick. Do you think it affects them at all?
No, of course not. He's not even going to play, so there's no way it's going to affect him. Do you know what happened to Tristan?
I don't.
Tristan Thompson.
I didn't want to admit it. You're making me look bad, Lucas.
Tristan Thompson
God.
was caught cheating on Khloe Kardashian with some
Instagram model.
Instagram booty hoe.
Booty hoe. Booty
Does
hoe.
Margie know you talk like this?
She was the one that told me about it.
Did she?
And
use
then
the
we
term
had
booty
it,
hoe?
and then I had to explain to her how much I hated Tristan Thompson to begin with, and now I'm on team of I hate Tristan Thompson. I'm on board with every 16-year-old girl in the world now. It's fantastic.
Well, you are Jessica, so it's okay.
It's okay. I'm part of them. But yeah, he sucks. So they released a sex tape, the Instagram on Instagram of Tristan Thompson. Instagram took it down, but it was like there is now a sex tape of Tristan Thompson.
Genie's out of the bottle.
It's incredible.
Cat's out of the bag.
Just so happens to have come out 2 days or 4 days before the NBA playoffs start.
Right.
But you know what? Tristan Thompson's trash anyway.
He is trash.
He's completely not effective in the NBA at this point. So big whoop. But that is interesting. I appreciate you filling me in on that. I'm too old to get that news. That's the problem. Key player.
I'd like to start off and tell you the real key player in the series.
Not Miles Turner.
His man is Lance Stevenson.
His name
His name is Lance Stevenson. One of the only players
himself.
Exactly. He's one of the only players I can think of on the top of my head that have ever gotten completely into LeBron's head. Completely. Have you seen so many technicals? Like, I've never seen so many technicals drawn on LeBron from then Lance Stevenson blowing in his ear, getting in his face, getting way too close to LeBron. No other player in the league does this. Nobody else pisses off LeBron more than Lance Stevenson, and he's not good. He's not a great player. He might be average, but he does all those really obnoxious, terrible things that only Lance Stevenson will do.
He was pretty good back in the day.
Prime
But
Lance,
at this point, I agree.
like before he went to the Hornets, that he was so much fun to
Before
watch.
he
ruined his
fell
career.
off the cliff, yeah.
Right.
But no, he was born to fuck with LeBron. I totally agree.
I just think of like the story of Lance, the story of I think KG was the other player that just absolutely decimated LeBron's brain, like going through the beginning stage. I love Lance, and I think if he does some like game 3, something happens, series is 1-1, mid fourth quarter comes around and Lance just does something dumb. He does something really, really wrong. He could do something wrong, like try to accidentally shove LeBron's like pants down. You know, he could try to like he could do anything. He could pull J.R. Smith and pull his shoelace out.
You don't know what to expect.
You don't have no idea what to expect. I think Lance Stevenson is the guy who could have an elite game. He could average 25-5. He could average 8, 2-2. But
Lance is the wild card.
He's going to screw with LeBron. He's going to.
I like the key player. Good call. I went Oladipo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like we said, Bron by far the best player. But if Oladipo somehow, through some magical, I don't even know, summoning of superpowers, if Oladipo could be the best player in this series, you know, just for the course of this series, if he could, then the Pacers win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. If he outplays LeBron, the Pacers win.
Oladipo is averaging 25, 5, and 5. He's an elite guard right now. He's a top 5 shooting guard. He can
He's
do
on
it.
my All NBA second team.
He's going to be on all defensive team first team too. So he's got all the votes.
I'm just still confused that you said Stevenson could average 25, 5, and 5.
No, I said like he has like a range. Like he could do terrible or he could do great. You know, like that's just who Lance Stevenson is. He has like probably the most bizarre standard deviation of like a stat line.
With J.R. Smith being a close second.
J.R. Smith, it's like that, or like Jeff Green of 2 years ago could either drop 28 or he could do 2.
That's still Jeff Green.
Yeah, but I mean, so that's like,
that was like a week ago. He dropped 36.
Changed.
It's like a Jeff Green, J.R. Smith, Lance. They're all random stat line players.
Absolutely.
LeBron James is going to win this series.
But they're not. The Cavs aren't playing that well either.
Are you taking Bron as best player and key player?
It's just LeBron James.
Well, that's a boring take. What do you take them in though? Like series wise,
5.
Cavs in 5.
Cavs in 5.
I think I have.
Yeah, you said this was the series that you were most confident.
Yeah.
Like
LeBron.
I think it's going to be Cavs in 7, but I kind of
7.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you know playoff LeBron?
Yeah. But
I have Cleveland in 6. I actually had all my Eastern Conference series being 6-game series. That'll change come West. Thanks for listening. That concludes basically part 1 of our playoff spectacular here at the Sip and Swish. Nick Reid, Lucas McLean, Jason Stoltz. Download tomorrow's Western Conference pod tomorrow.
yeah,
It'll drop on Friday.